been one big adventure for our two amateur athletes in Season 2 of Search4Hurt. Leah and Pap have completed 6 grueling endurance events with only 30 days to prepare.
No world hurt.
Actually just took the wrong road.
Adding to that, training sessions with some of the country's best athletes in a range of different sports. The journey for them has now come to an end with the completion of the final event for 2014, the 24-hour obstacle enduro. Now it's time to catch up with the team and the boss and mentor, Matt Murphy, to get the lowdown on the last event and their experience searching for her.
Well, as you can see, we're in slightly a different environment for the debrief for the 24-hour True Grit Obstacle Challenge. I'll get to why we're in a different environment in a moment, but you were in front for 19 hours and Leah's gone past you just at a crawling pace. And what did you actually do about that?
I had a good pace and I was working my way up the ranks. You know, 7th place, 6th place, 5th place, and I kept going. And around the 90th K mark or so, I just hit a wall. Eventually, crawling on my hands and knees through the water. But prior to that, you know, I had this constant fear, like Leah's going to be behind you, like you were going so slow, you know, and like seeing people.
It's like you were hunted.
Yeah, exactly, and seeing people that were passing me, I'm like, oh, I can't, like, I've been 19 hours putting it on the line, and for it to, you know, for everyone to go past was pretty gut-wrenching. And then Leah came past with a big smile on her face.
I felt terrible.
She had a great pace on her and she's like, hey Pap, and we had a bit of a conversation and I'm just sitting there dying on the inside going, go get him Leah, you've got this.
And you came up first female
Yeah,
overall.
yeah.
Very, very impressive.
Thank you.
Smashed it.
Yep.
My idea was to go steady. I mean, you had gone out fast, so I think you made me run a little bit harder at the beginning. But after that, it was sort of slow and steady does it.
So once you broke his soul.
Yeah, well then when I saw
Crushed
Pap,
it.
I really didn't know what to do when I didn't want to overtake. But, you know, it's a race, so see you later.
We're here so that we can, I guess, have a debrief of all of Series 2 of Search4Hurt. And we thought we'd bring in none other than the voice of Search4Hurt, Steve Allan.
Yeah, thanks Matty. Thanks Leah and Pap. And I can really relate to Series 2. You're a couple of guys that have got full-time jobs, but you're out there doing incredible events. And firstly, congratulations for what you've achieved so far. We're here at Star of the Sea in Terrigal, the beautiful New South Wales Central Coast, where a lot of this Series 2 has been filmed. But guys, we might kick off with some of these viewer questions because there's hundreds that have come through. And firstly, people want to know what kind of relationship you guys have got. Have you become good mates during this? I know there was definitely rivalry between the two of you, but how are you feeling now at the end of the series?
Yeah, Leah and I, we met each other at Hurt Camp, and we worked really well together as a pair. And
Yeah,
we won a
that's
few of the WODs.
Yeah, I think as soon as we met one another, we were just good teammates and
Yeah.
worked really well. So it went the whole series, we've just been able to get along.
A lot of viewers have asked about nutrition because at times we see your body break down during an event, particularly the endurance events.
For myself, I've learned a lot this year with the importance of nutrition and the timings of everything like that. And you know, when you're pushing your body at such an intensity for a long period of time, it's crucial. And I can see it in myself and my performance. I think that's why the 24-hour obstacle race, I was performing a lot better because you were forced to go into your pit and then you had your support crew who are like, have this, have this, have this, have this.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about. It's not just ensuring that you're taking food. There's electrolytes, there's a lot of other substances that you need to ensure that you're having every 30, 45 minutes just to replenish your system.
A big thing that the guys at home might not understand that is you need to be fueling your body before you're even hungry or before you feel flat. You need to have that watch set to beep every 30 or 40 minutes, whatever your time is that you've worked out. And if you miss one feed time, you start to bonk. And once you bonk, it's hard to come back. As Pat, you might have found out.
I did. Yeah, I did at the North Face.
I'm really lightheaded, very faint, weak. I've got no too much water and not enough electrolytes. I'm not going to make the 18-hour mark. I can't.
Pap, I've got to ask you a couple of questions, particularly about these guys, the mentality, the philosophy of these power lifters. Well, you spent time with Big Flo, but Derek Boyer, tell us about these two guys.
Yeah.
They're on the edge.
Absolutely. It was the first time, training with Derek Boyer especially, because he did the training with me. That was definitely the switch. I think we all saw that. It was incredible to see that transition, Derek. Where I felt like I was a 6-year-old child training with my dad. I was seeing him pick up weights and move around objects that I couldn't even fathom. And it was a pleasure to train with both of them. They both pushed me, and Big Flo and I had a good laugh with some of the training we did there. So
ready in the wolf house, let's go, come on! Easy, welcome, easy, beautiful. How good was that?
that was much easier. It was tough.
Great question here from Ash Davis. How do you keep the motivation levels up at the points where you're at your lowest and you feel you can't go on? What do you tell yourself to be mentally strong for the rest of the event?
Yeah, look, I'm never thinking of stopping. It's always getting through the race, putting the best effort in. So just visualising that finish line and knowing that you're going to get there, you've just got to persevere and keep going.
Guys, went back to episode 1 and had a look at that and really enjoyed the footage of the Hurt camp, but there were a couple of questions that come out of it. First of all, the voiceover was a chance to push yourself beyond assumed limitations and capabilities. Did you guys achieve those goals in 2014?
Well, I've never done a running race before. My first was 100 kilometres in the Blue Mountains. I think myself and a lot of people would say that's pushing yourself and finding, and pushing those limitations.
Yeah, in a similar sort of boat. I hadn't really done much paddling. Certainly had never done stand-up paddleboard, but also mountain biking, so many new things. So it was just a learning curve, the entire series.
I love watching both of you guys. Pap, on a lot of reality shows, they ask this question. Were you happy with the way you were portrayed? At times there was Benny Hill music playing. I mean, you're obviously a very fit guy, but your specialty is upper body strength. And so many times you're outside your comfort zone, thanks to the guy on the lounge with you.
The hardest thing with this series is that we're doing endurance events that go for 24 to 48 hours. There's only so much I can put in. And unfortunately, I just get caught at the wrong time, of like going over the handlebars. Or doing something stupid with a paddle. It's all a bit of fun. And I'm proud of my efforts, and I was out of my comfort zone this whole series. I've come a long way, and then I've found that a lot of people have found it inspiring to see someone who has no endurance background to compete in these top events.
All right, Maddie, let's crunch some numbers. What were the best performances by these two? Give us an event for each of them where they exceeded expectations.
I think Leah with the 24-hour obstacle challenge at True Grit, for both the guys not to stop, let alone for Leah to win, and also the distance that she covered, I thought that was pretty damn impressive. But then also with Pap, with his first run over 21 or 30 kilometres.
Oh, holy dooly, mate.
To go into a 100-kilometre race, even Brendan Davies and I both said, Leah, she'll probably make it, probably. But, I had my money on probably a 40% chance that Pap was going to finish the North Face. And I was getting texts through the night, and I got one that, Pap's messed up. And I knew that was about the 10-hour mark. And I was like, yeah, still a good job, 10 hours. And then 17 hours, 50-something, he finishes. And I'm like, wow.
Matty, I love the Geo Quest. There were a couple of episodes there, but have you got any regrets about sending these guys out there? The navigation in particular, it just showed how dangerous it can be to be out there for 48 hours, fatigued, maybe suffering hypothermia, and then suddenly you've got to find a location. It looked fairly dangerous to me.
Probably the biggest regret that Jared, the mentor, and that went over my head was stay within the boundaries. Like, yes, it's Search4Hurt.
As we discovered, riding on the Pacific Highway, cars doing 100 plus Ks an hour.
But when the guys went onto the freeway on push bikes after, 30 hours of no sleep, severe exercise, and you're on a freeway with very large trucks, fatigued drivers, and these guys are fatigued mountain bike riders, it's a recipe for disaster. And I can't stress enough that even if you got to that freeway, you're better off stopping the event.
Sometimes you have no more than maybe 2 feet between you and a truck.
Leah, you look to me like you could run all day, but like the boys know, when you add some contact to that, it's really hard to drag yourself up off the deck and keep going when you're being absolutely smashed. That happened to you with the New South Wales Surge.
I still think that's one of the favourites for me. It was a really good session, and purely because they just knew how to train me and keep pushing. I mean, that coach was not giving in.
Go! Let's go! Put your person down.
I loved it, and I was just really excited, but I had these 2 big guys holding a pad on either side, and I was to run through with this ball, and I thought, yeah, I've got this.
Pap, there's a couple of key things I want to talk to you about, in particular the zoo, the Angkor. Like, that was early in the series, and it was a real eye-opener. Here's a guy like you that's so fit, and yet you were smashed during that session.
It was the most intense thing I've ever been through. Nathan and the boys up there in zoo and working with the Angkor system, they're doing some wonders. It's a completely different type of fitness, something I've never been involved with before, and they just broke me. Absolutely broke me. I dropped and dropped and dropped, and they kept picking me up and kept forcing me to go, and they did the same workload with you by your side, and that sense of camaraderie was there, and it was an unreal atmosphere, and unfortunately the episode doesn't do it justice. I think you have to get yourself in the harness and do it yourself. There's a love-hate relationship, but I honestly couldn't move my arms for the next day.
Aidan Haller wants to know, and so many people wanted to know via Facebook and Twitter about recovery and also about nutrition. I know we touched on it briefly earlier, but tell us what worked for you.
Recovery for me, you've just got to keep moving. So we've been doing huge kilometres. When you finished a race, you're exhausted, and obviously we had muscle cramps, you've got sore calf muscles, but if you keep the blood flow going and you keep moving, before you know it, you'll start to recover. There are other things, obviously, massage and just rolling out, making sure that you get certain nutrients as well. So I personally take magnesium after a race. But yeah, lots of little things that you need to consider. Recovery is obviously just as important as the preparation.
What's next for you guys?
I am still studying at the moment and would like to focus on finishing that off. But something that I'm really keen on is growing my own training program and eventually getting that online. But I do personal training and group training. So just getting that up and running and having the knowledge behind me to be able to offer something different.
Tell us your story, big fella.
Well, this experience has been priceless. We've learnt from the best. We've gone through such a large array of events. We've been able to take all these golden crumbs from every player, and we can incorporate it to our own style of training. And I run my own outdoor training business, Battlefit Australia on the Central Coast, and all my clients are benefiting off that. And I'm opening up a website, andrewpap.com.au, and we're in the development of getting that launched and getting online nutrition and training programs there. And
Matty, is Pap's best performance of the series when he's suffering from barley belly? I believe he was on a drip in hospital. And people were really concerned for the poor guy. Like, he'd been up there, like, training some people up in Bali, came back, wasn't well, but he still completed the swim leg. Is that one of his finest performances in this series?
I think true grit and determination. I think absolutely. Stupidity as well, though. Yeah. I think. Yeah. To be, I guess, hallucinating before the start of a 1,500 metre swim in tropical water with several hundred other competitors around you. Yes, I think it is his finest moment.
Great ranking part, but if you're not confident to do the whole 3 legs, why not just jump in and do one?
Have a look at some of these names coming through. Try Wear Tots in the male, and then have a look at P. Diddy Posse, the female team in the Olympics.
Both of you have got full-time jobs. Leah, you're back at university. Your schedule is hectic. How have you made this happen?
Yeah, my day is really quite full on. It starts very early. I do have study, and on top of that, I've got a normal job. I've got conferences that I run. I'm a PT, but luckily for me, that's early mornings or late nights. So there's a lot going on every day. To be able to fit training in is part of what I choose to make sure I get done, but it's about being organised.
Matty, you said about future plans, and we all want to know what's happening with Search4Hurt Season 3. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but guys, again, congratulations on everything you've achieved in Series 2 of Search4Hurt. Before you ride off into the sunset, what about a couple of final words from both of you guys? We'll start with you, Pap.
I just obviously love to give a big thanks to everybody that's been involved with the series. All the athletes and mentors we've had, and Matty for sure, he's been there helping us the whole way and mentoring us and encouraging us, and Leah. She's been a great team member, and we do work well together, and we've become good friends out of it. And also our support crew as well. Those guys were, you couldn't have done it without them.
You guys are an inspiration. Leah, you're like the incredibly talented and fit girl next door. Some final words from you.
I'd just like to say it's been an unbelievable experience. We've just done so much. So a huge thank you to everybody at Search4Hurt and to Matt. Also, I have to say thank you to my husband. He's been really supportive. The entire time he's just been there to help out and encouraging me the whole way.
I'm super stoked and so proud of these guys with what they've pulled off. I think that they should be super stoked within themselves what they've done, and I'm proud to have them as part of Series 2 for Search4Hurt.
Well, great job again, guys. Congratulations, and a tinge of sadness, Matty, with these guys finishing their journey in 2014. Well, as we mentioned earlier, a lot of questions have come through specifically for Matt Murphy. We'll cover them right after this. Matt, Pap and Leah have left the set. You went from being a big star, being the main man, to being behind the cameras a lot of the time this season and watching these guys, observing them, being a mentor yourself. Did you miss the limelight?
In short, no. It was really good to see, I guess, Leah and Pap grow through the series, and I guess for the viewers at home as well to see someone else go through some hurt that had their own strengths and weaknesses.
We should have mentioned this earlier, but Elise was the star of Series 1 as well. What's she up to?
Well, right now she's pregnant, so we've got a little fella on the way in, 3 weeks.
Does that put your athletics career on hold again?
Everyone says obviously it's a huge journey, and it is extremely difficult, but my plan would be just to organise my time really well, and talking to Max King, who is one of the world's best ultra runners and marathoners, US runner, amazing athlete. He just said it is hard, but he said if you have to run at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's what you do.
What have been some of the great moments?
You know, seeing Leah and Pap get punished, because I was there, I had to go through that on camera, and I knew everything that they were reliving, and it's cool to see them, I guess, almost get reborn after each event to be a better version of themselves. So it was really cool to see them suffer in a sadistic kind of way.
That's it for the final episode of Series 2 of Search for Hurt. Let's go back to Maddie, and it's your show, Maddie. Congratulations. The final word goes to you in 2014.
Thanks, Steve. To say to the guys at home that watch week in, week out, the whole team at Search for Hurt, we really, really appreciate it. We hope you take some inspiration from the show. But most of all, over the next few weeks, we've got some really big news coming up. So make sure you keep an eye out on all the social media avenues. And what can you expect for Series 3? Well, expect some hurt, but expect the unexpected. Welcome to Her Care. Search for Hurt, brother.
No way.
This event is going to be a paddleboard race.
Might get hurt by this pad.
100 k's to go, almost there. Leah is done, dude.
Oh, bring it on!